In the icy waters of the North Atlantic, where storms sweep in without warning, and the horizon seems endless, a centuries-old struggle continues. Here, men and women venture out to harvest one of the ocean's most iconic species, the Atlantic cod. Cod has fed generations of families from Europe to North America. It fueled international trade-powered coastal economies and even shaped the rise of empires. Today, though, modern steel trawlers and advanced technology have replaced the wooden sailing ships of the past, the core challenge remains unchanged: finding, catching, and preserving these valuable fish in one of the harshest environments on Earth. Every voyage begins in the port. The docks are alive with the sound of winches tightening cables, diesel engines warming up, and fishermen checking equipment. Nets are inspected for tears, steel trawl doors are secured, and refrigerated holds are cooled down to sub-zero temperatures. Fuel tanks are filled to the brim, because a trip may last weeks at sea. Provisions are loaded, 2 crates of food, barrels of drinking water, and spare parts for repairs far from shore. At first light, the ships head out. As the coastline fades into the mist, the crew prepare for the long days ahead. Life on board is grueling. Shifts are organized into 6-hour rotations, meaning there is no real day or night, just a cycle of work, rest, and constant vigilance. The search for cod begins with sonar and radar. These sophisticated instruments send sound waves into the depths, bouncing signals back from schools of fish hundreds of meters below. Experienced captains with decades of instinct interpret the colored shapes on the monitor. To the untrained eye, they look like blurs of green and yellow. To a veteran, they mean the difference between an empty net and a profitable catch. Once the captain confirms the presence of cod, the trawling operation begins. Steel cables thicker than a wrist are unspooled, carrying down massive nets the size of football fields. These bottom trawls are designed to glide just above the seabed, where cod usually hunt for smaller fish, crustaceans, and worms. The trawl door's heavy metal plates act as wings, keeping the mouth of the net open as it moves through the water. For hours, the net is dragged along the seabed. The ship maintains a steady course, adjusting speed and depth to ensure maximum efficiency, while minimizing damage to the fragile marine environment. Inside the net, cod swim frantically, pushed back toward the narrowing end called the cod end, a reinforced section where the catch is concentrated. Monitoring screens on deck provide real-time updates. Sensors attached to the net measure depth, water temperature, and even estimate how much fish has entered. If the drag is too heavy, there's a risk of tearing the net or losing the catch. If it's too light, the crew wastes valuable time and fuel. Every decision counts. Finally, the captain gives the order: haul back. Winches roar, pulling the massive net slowly up through the waves. The ocean resists, fighting against the steel and mesh. Then, breaking the surface, the cod end appears bulging with thousands of shimmering fish. Spray explodes as the crane swings the heavy load onto the deck. The air fills with the smell of salt and fish, the sound of flapping tails, and the shouts of the crew as they scramble to control the haul. This moment, when the cod pour out onto the deck in a silver flood, is both chaotic and exhilarating. For For many fishermen, it's the reward for days of preparation and sleepless nights. But it's also just the beginning, because every fish must now be handled quickly, preserved properly, and accounted for under strict regulations. Once the nets are hauled in, the work on deck begins immediately. Cod, unlike some smaller fish, are valuable only if handled with care. The crew forms a fast-moving chain, some sort, some clean, and others prepare the fish for storage. Large cod are quickly separated from smaller ones and non-target species. The smaller bycatch, depending on regulations and survival chances, may be released back into the sea. This process isn't just about efficiency, it's also about responsibility. Strict quotas and rules govern how much cod each vessel can bring in, and inspectors at port will verify every detail. On-deck conveyor belts carry the cod to processing tables. With swift practice motions, workers gut and clean the fish. The floor is wet, the air heavy with salt, and the metallic scent of blood, yet every movement is precise. Time is the enemy here. The faster the fish is chilled, the fresher it will remain. Below-deck refrigerated seawater tanks and industrial freezers keep the catch at sub-zero temperatures. These systems run non-stop, powered by the ship's engines. A breakdown in the cooling system could spell disaster for the entire voyage, turning weeks of labor into financial loss. Life on board during these trips is brutally demanding. Fishermen work shifts that blur day and night. 6 hours on, 6 hours off, repeated endlessly as long as the vessel is at sea. Meals are often quick hot stews or fried fish prepared in a galley that rocks with every wave. Rest comes in cramped bunks, where the constant hum of engines and the rolling of the sea make true sleep a luxury. And then there are the storms. In the North Atlantic, bad weather can arrive suddenly. One moment the sea is calm under gray skies. The next winds rise to hurricane force and waves tower higher than the ship's bridge. In those conditions, decisions are a matter of survival. Do they keep the nets in the water, risking damage and injury? Or do they abandon the catch to protect lives? Veteran fishermen recall storms that shredded nets worth tens of thousands of dollars or snapped steel cables like threads. Some remember losing friends and fellow crew members to the sea. Each voyage carries that risk, a reminder that fishing is one of the most dangerous professions in the world. Yet despite the hardships, the bond among the crew grows strong. Shared danger, endless labor, and the hope of a successful catch create a brotherhood or family that few outside the industry can understand. For many coastal communities, cod fishing isn't just a job. It's identity, heritage, and survival wrapped together in the salty spray of the ocean. When the trawlers finally return to port, the work is far from over. The catch, thousands of kilograms of cod, must be offloaded, processed, and distributed with speed and precision. Time is still critical. From sea to market, every hour matters if the fish is to retain its fresh, clean flavor. At the dockside, cranes swing into action, lifting crates and containers from the vessel's hold. Forklifts and chilled trucks line up waiting to move the cargo to processing plants. The harbor becomes a hive of activity. The sound of engines, the calls of workers, and the ever-present cry of gulls circling above, drawn by the smell of fish. Inside the plants, the temperature drops dramatically. Workers in heavy gloves and insulated clothing sort through the cod, separating them by size and intended use. The largest premium quality fish are set aside for filleting. Medium-sized cod may be destined for salted or dried products, while smaller specimens can be processed into fish meal or oil. Nothing is wasted. The filleting line is where speed and skill come together. Knives move in a blur as workers slice along the backbone, remove the head and strip away skin in practiced motions. Increasingly, machines assist in this process, cutting fillets with laser-guided precision. Yet human hands remain essential. Only experienced eyes can identify subtle imperfections or ensure the highest standards of quality. Once filleted, the cod is flash frozen in high-capacity freezers or vacuum-packed for shipment. Some is destined for European markets, where cod remains a staple in classic dishes like fish and chips. Other shipments head to North America and Asia, where demand for white, flaky fish continues to rise. But the cod supply chain doesn't stop at food markets. Byproducts such as cod liver are processed into oils, rich in vitamins, while bones and trimmings become raw material for animal feed and fertilizers. This full utilization of the catch reflects not only efficiency, but also a tradition of respect for the resource, a mindset passed down through centuries of fishing culture. For coastal communities, cod is more than just an export commodity. It fuels entire local economies. The income from a good season supports shipbuilders, net makers, refrigeration specialists, truck drivers, and countless others. Families plan their livelihoods around the cod season, and towns flourish or struggle, depending on how bountiful the year's catch has been. Yet with all this economic importance comes responsibility. Cod is a slow-growing species, vulnerable to overfishing. In the past, unchecked exploitation led to severe population collapses. Particularly in the Grand Banks of Newfoundland. The lesson was harsh, but clear. Without strict management, even the richest seas can be emptied. Today, governments and international bodies set quotas, monitor stocks, and enforce seasonal closures. Vessels are tracked by satellite. Catches must be reported in real time. Inspectors check landings at ports, ensuring no vessel exceeds its legal share. Violations can lead to heavy fines or the loss of fishing licenses. These measures may seem restrictive, but they are essential for sustainability. Because cod is not just today's meal, it is tomorrow's as well. Every responsible catch ensures that future generations of fishermen and their children after them will still hear the call of the sea and bring home fish from the cold Atlantic waters. Cod fishing is not just a technical operation. It is also a struggle against forces much larger than man. Climate change, shifting ocean currents, and warming waters are reshaping the very environment where cod have lived for centuries. Scientists have observed that cod stocks are moving further north into colder Arctic waters, chasing the habitats that once flourished in the North Atlantic. This migration presents new challenges. For coastal towns that have depended on traditional fishing grounds for generations, the fish are no longer where they used to be. boats must travel farther, fuel costs rise, and risks increase as crews push into more remote and hostile seas. At the same time, these northern waters are contested politically and environmentally. As nations seek to secure access to dwindling marine resources. To address these challenges, international cooperation has become essential. Agreements between the European Union, Canada, Norway, and other coastal states are designed to balance fishing rights with conservation. These frameworks aim to prevent a repeat of past collapses, like the one that devastated Newfoundland in the early 1990s, when cod stocks plummeted and entire communities were left without their primary source of income. Technology also plays an increasingly important role in sustainability. Modern vessels use real-time data from satellite sonar imaging and even AI-powered prediction models to locate fish more precisely. By targeting specific schools of cod, these tools help reduce bycatch, the unintended capture of other species, and minimize environmental damage caused by dragging heavy nets across the seabed. Still, technology can only go so far. The human element remains critical. Many veteran fishermen have embraced a culture of stewardship, teaching younger generations to respect quotas to return undersized fish to the sea, and to view the ocean not as an endless pantry, but as a living system that demands care. The story of cod is therefore more than a tale of profit and survival. It is a story of responsibility. Each crate of fish represents not just food on the table, but a delicate balance between human need and the ocean's ability to provide. For centuries, cod has been more than just a source of food. It has been the very backbone of entire civilizations. In the North Atlantic, cod shaped trade routes, built cities, and even influenced wars. Some historians call it the fish that changed the world. In medieval Europe, salted and dried cod became a critical commodity. It could be stored for months without spoiling, making it the perfect food for long sea voyages. And harsh winters. From the Basque Country to Scandinavia, from Portugal to New England, cod-fed armies fueled exploration and gave rise to thriving coastal economies. In places like Norway, Iceland, and Newfoundland, cod was more than an export. It was a cultural identity. Families measured their wealth not in coins but in barrels of dried fish. Festivals were built around the arrival of the cod season. Songs, stories, and legends were passed down, glorifying the bravery of those who ventured into icy seas. Even today, communities along the coasts of Greenland or northern Canada celebrate cod as a symbol of resilience. Yet this legacy has not been without hardship. The collapse of Newfoundland's cod fishery in the early 1990s remains one of the most dramatic environmental and economic disasters in modern history. Overfishing fueled by industrial trawlers and weak regulations decimated stocks that had sustained people for 500 years. Tens of thousands of fishermen lost their livelihoods overnight. Towns emptied, traditions faded, and the lessons of unsustainable exploitation became painfully clear. These stories serve as warnings, but they also remind us of cod's enduring place in human culture. The fish is not just an economic resource, it is a thread woven into identity and memory. Every salted fillet, every golden fried portion on a plate is part of a legacy carried across oceans and generations. Cod remains a global symbol of what the ocean can give and what it can take away when balance is broken.